Coming up on Cronkite News, the battle against the fentanyl crisis continues across the state. How one woman is fighting to make a difference.
Plus, the stakes are high this Super Bowl weekend now that sports betting is legal in Arizona.
And later, the new Phoenix Suns owner has officially taken over the team, and they're already making big moves.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Lydia Curry.
And I'm Shira Tanzer. Thank you for joining us.
The number of fentanyl pills seized by law enforcement continues to rise across Arizona.
Cronkite News reporter Connor McGill spoke with one family who's turning their grief into hope.
We don't want any other family to have to go through what we've been through in the last 20 months. My family is broken.
It was half an M30 pill that took the life of their daughter, Ashley Dunn. A early morning phone call upended this family's world. Dunn was rushed to the hospital after she was given 6 doses of Narcan.
It's a miracle they got her heart beating.
It's a miracle
honestly.
that they got her out of her house and got her to the hospital so we could at least see her and be with her the last 3 days.
The Dunns were heartbroken as signs pointed to Ashley being brain dead. They begged the doctors to keep her alive long enough to survive through her son's 5th birthday, her parents later taking her off life support. According to the DEA, Arizona seized over 22 million fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills in 2022. That's more than 43% of what was seized across the country. To the south of the state, there are alarming signs of the growing issue at the border. One thing that makes this point of entry different compared to dozens of others across the United States is the amount of fentanyl that's been seized right here. Already in the first 3 months of the fiscal year, the port of entry has seized more fentanyl than the previous fiscal year.
Nogales is a fairly small town, and so 10 or 15 million fentanyl pills, over a few month period aren't coming to Nogales, to Tucson, to Phoenix. They're going to spread out through the U.S.
Drug traffickers are using various methods to transport the drug, from as holy as a picture of the Virgin Mary to as simple as a yard decoration, both of which were once stuffed with thousands of fentanyl pills. CBP is using new technology, including X-ray machines, to stay ahead of the upward trend of fentanyl.
But I can say my team here is ready, and they're not going to stop looking.
While conversations on how to combat the drug from coming in continue, the Dunn family is pushing for change at the state capitol.
We need to stand up for our families. You need to make a commitment to save lives. This law will create deterrent in sales.
The Judiciary Committee recently heard arguments for and against House Bill 2167, created by Representative Kwong Win. The bill would make drug trafficking homicide a Class 1 felony.
2 ayes, 5 nays, 1 present. You have failed to pass House Bill 2167.
Though this is just one hurdle, the Dunn family plans to continue on with their advocacy in hopes for change.
I will never stop until I take my last breath. I will never stop trying to put fentanyl dealers in jail. I will never stop. Nothing's going to stop me.
Connor McGill, Cronkite News.
This is the second time a bill regarding penalties for fentanyl-related crimes was proposed. Dunn says she will continue to try working with legislators, but is prepared to take the issue to voters to make real change happen.
The second annual Black Men's Brain Health Conference is this week. Partners in the community gather to raise awareness about brain science research among Black men. They address brain health, cognitive aging, and Alzheimer's disease. Mayo Clinic was invited to help the community understand how the hospital is working to reduce health outcomes in minority communities. Director of Community Engagement Marion Kelly discusses health disparities facing minority populations.
I would bet, if I were a betting man, that 95% of them had nothing to do with DNA. have nothing to do with biology, but have more to do with social determinants of health. Some of those social determinants of health are access to care.
In Arizona, 5% of Black people are uninsured and nearly 10% of Black Americans are uninsured nationwide, according to a Quote Wizard report this month.
No matter who wins the Super Bowl this week, you can bet there's going to be a lot of money involved. Alexia Stanbridge tells us how this year's game will be a bit different now that sports betting is legal in the state.
Sports betting is a huge part of Super Bowl weekend, and experts say it will be even more prominent this year. Arizona's the first state with legalized sports betting to host the Super Bowl.
Really is just another indication that the NFL has gotten very comfortable with the legal gambling industry.
The American Gaming Association estimates that 1 in 5 American adults will place a bet on the game, and they'll wager an estimated $16 billion, more than double last year's estimate. Jeff Zakodny, a sports betting analyst at Covers, says he also expects to see the sports betting numbers increase in Arizona.
It's another year where the market has had time to mature.
According to the Arizona Department of Gaming, in November 2021, sports bettors in Arizona wagered almost $467 million. In November 2022, that number went up to nearly $617 million. That's a 32% increase in 1 year.
I think we'll continue to see that type of growth that we've seen through the winter of 2022 as we move into the spring of 2023.
Max Hartgraves, the public information officer for the Arizona Department of Gaming, says he expects to see an increase of wagers at the in-person venues in Arizona.
I like to think sports betting is just another attraction for those out-of-state tourists when they come visit our state.
Zakodny agrees and says sports betting has become a big part of the culture around the game. In Phoenix, Alexia Stanbridge, Cronkite News.
This is the first time a sportsbook will be at a Super Bowl venue, with BetMGM located right outside of State Farm Stadium. As of now, the Eagles are slightly favored to win, but these predictions could change before the Super Bowl. We'll hear from Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts later in sports. Back to you, Lydia and Shira.
2017 marked a historical moment for women in football. That summer, Colette V. Smith was hired as the very first African-American female coach within the NFL.
Now, Smith shares how her role in the NFL can help empower other African-American women in sports. Smith was part of a group of leaders from the NFL who came to Phoenix today to share their stories and inspire young girls. Dozens of students from the Girls Leadership Academy of Arizona listened to stories of adversity and success. The goal is to spark conversations with students about diversity, equity, and inclusion in sports. Smith told the girls to be patient when seeking their dreams.
You have your whole life to rush through things later on, okay? Take your time and do it the right way. Break it down.
The half-day event was part of the Play Like a Girl Phoenix Leadership Summit organized during Super Bowl week. The world watched with concern after Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest in the middle of a game in January. Cronkite News reporter Jacob Carlisle tells us how Hamlin's injury not only brought attention to these cardiac accidents, but also on how to prevent them.
The condition that caused Hamlin's injury is called commotio cordis, and doctors say it can happen at any moment. I spoke with a health expert and an athletic trainer on how to avoid this and other chest injuries.
Football is a hard-hitting, popular sport. Like any other sport, protection is the key, according to Dr. Joel Sellers.
There are studies about maybe more effective chest protection for baseball players, softball players. So who might be at risk for getting hit? Anyone who has a hard ground ball, a line drive.
This type of accident can happen to anyone, even catchers with chest protectors can still develop it. Saguaro High School's athletic trainer, Nikki Mays, gave some advice on how to deal with a cardiac injury.
From my standpoint, that's going to rely heavily on direction from their cardiologist and their physician. They would even go to specialized physical therapists who deal with cardiac physical therapy.
Commotio cordis is ventricular fibrillation precipitated by blunt trauma to the heart. It is infrequent, but is an important cause of sudden death in young athletes.
That's the problem sometimes when you're studying the effectiveness of something. You have to have cases to quantify, and there may only be a handful of cases per year in Arizona that we can use as a database.
Health experts say that in every sport there is a chance of accidents, and the best way to avoid them is to be properly protected and practice safely. In the newsroom, Jacob Carlisle, Cronkite News.
Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport will see an increase of travelers with the Super Bowl here this weekend.
Baggage and personal items are bound to get lost within the crowded terminals. Coming up after the break, we'll share some ways to get your lost items back.
Plus, the first day of the Phoenix Open teed off. Find out what to expect as the world's best golfers compete at TPC Scottsdale.
We tell ourselves stories as a nation.
These stories need to be highlighted. They need to be explored. We're the dreamers.
How serious is America's commitment to looking at its history? How can we learn from the past?
Douglas said, "You're going to look me in the eye and see my humanity."
It's illuminating. I'm seeing the expansiveness of my history.
It's pretty great.
There's so much richness to Black life and Black culture.
I think the story of Muslims in America is the story of America.
Tonight, they are free.
I cannot imagine how excited he must have been.
It's a wonderful feeling. This is why we do this.
It makes me even more committed to struggling for a better world.
Welcome. How utterly charming. Are you ready to get it going? How does an English fan come to the Italian Riviera?
A fresh start.
Can I trust you? Are you ready for the show? You can't be afraid to show them what you've got. What you want.
Are we having a party?
Of course, the more the merrier.
I love this place. It's my home now. Trouble in paradise. I can't do it on my own.
This is revenge.
There are consequences.
Be careful. Nothing like this. Nothing like this. Oh. You look like you need rescuing.
Don't we all?
What is it that you want? I just want to let go. I choose how I live.
There is the passion that I've been looking for.
Thousands of people will fly out of the Phoenix airport after the Super Bowl. Some items are bound to be left behind. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Tizmensky has some tips on how to find your lost items.
Bottles, things like this.
When you go through airport security, you might leave something behind. Maybe it's jewelry, maybe a laptop or a suitcase. Whatever it is, it ends up here, the TSA Lost and Found at Sky Harbor. That's when Larry steps in. Larry Cummings is a transportation security officer for TSA, and he is no stranger to wrangling items that travelers think are missing.
We bring them up here at that point in time, and we're matching up these reports, return property reports, with the item.
Around 300 glasses and 300 belts go missing a month, making this a popular hangout spot for accessories missing their owners.
Now, usually the things that go missing are something simple like your luggage, maybe a jacket or a pair of glasses, but sometimes you leave behind your yoga mat or maybe even your fly fishing rod.
If that fishing rod is yours, you can get it back by contacting TSA. Larry says to be specific.
Sometimes it's a little difficult, between the glasses and the sunglasses. The green glasses, hey, I've only got one pair of green glasses. That's easy.
If your item is found, you can come pick it up at the TSA Lost and Found office on the 7th floor of the Terminal 3 parking garage. If you're out of town, you can get it shipped back to you for a fee. In Phoenix, Ryan Tizmaneski, Cronkite News.
Another tip, include your contact information on the outside of your electronics in case the item is left behind.
If you do need to recover something from the TSA Lost and Found, you can reach out to them by phone or email.
And as those golf and football fans arrive in Arizona, we have the highs and lows this week so they know how to dress for their favorite sporting events.
Madeline Jaskowiak has that forecast for you in the Weather Center.
Yeah, we're going to have a great weekend for sports here in the Valley and some great weather to match it. But first, let's take a look at our Thursday evening planner. We're starting off at 65 degrees at 6 p.m. and we'll get down to 56 degrees by 10 p.m. So a chillier evening. Let's take a look at our Friday lows. Northern Arizona, very cold, 14 in Flagstaff, 8 in the Grand Canyon. Down in Phoenix, 45 in Gila Bend, 42 in Tucson. But it will warm up Friday afternoon. Up in Northern Arizona, it will get up to 43 degrees, 74 in Phoenix, 73 in Gila Bend, 75 in Yuma. It'll be a beautiful Friday afternoon for those of you in the southern part of Arizona. Super Bowl 57 is coming to the Valley. The Kansas City Chiefs are facing off against the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday at 4:30 at the State Farm Arena in Glendale. We're going to see mostly sunny skies, and it's going to be about 68 degrees at the kickoff. And let's finish up here and look at our 8-day forecast. Friday, beautiful sunny skies, 74 degrees. Cloudy on Saturday, but 75. Super Bowl Sunday is going to be a beautiful day with a high of 72. The rest of the week is looking pretty nice as well. We're going to see that sunshine. Stick with us until Friday. Our lowest low is going to be 36 on Thursday, and our highest high is going to be 67 on Tuesday. I am Madeline Jaskowiak in the Cronkite Weather Center.
I'm Lindsay Zinti. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Tempe Diablo Stadium is dusting off the stage lights and turning off the stadium lights as they welcome ASU Theater.
Help your child learn at home with PBS Kids. Together, explore reading, math and science, life lessons, and more right alongside your favorite characters on TV and anytime on the PBS Kids 24/7 channel. And we offer free resources to help with at-home learning. Visit pbskids.org for educational tips, lessons, and hands-on activities. Also, sign up to receive even more information by email. Discover lots of fun tools and ideas to keep your child engaged. Learn at home with PBS Kids.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation. How do you think that so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives?
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS. Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Lindsay Zinti. Less than a day into being the Suns' new owner, Matt Ishiba has already made some big moves. The Suns have landed Kevin Durant in a blockbuster trade with the Nets. Here's a look at the deal for Durant. The trade sends Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, 4 unprotected future first-round picks, and a 2028 pick swap to Brooklyn, while the Suns would get KD and TJ Warren. Jay Crowder was also thrown in the deal, but the Nets have already traded Crowder to Milwaukee. The first round of the WM Phoenix Open teed off this morning. The mix of golf and the Super Bowl has brought in a ton of fans, including Philly and the Kansas City faithful. Cronkite sports reporter Jonah Krell was there for the mad rush to the 16th and may have seen more red than green.
Here at the WM Phoenix Open, things don't always go as planned when chaos is the normal. And that's how the first round got started. Despite fans eager to get to the 16th hole bright and early, they would have to wait nearly 2 hours for action due to a frost delay. Once the sun fully reared its head and the pros teed off, a consistent red and gold could be seen across TPC Scottsdale, seemingly outweighing the Eagles faithful.
They know the outcome of the game. It's probably a lot harder for them to get here. And biasly speaking, we have perhaps the GOAT of the game in our quarterback. I think most Chiefs fans don't really have a worry that the Chiefs are going to prevail.
Everyone's here for the same thing. Booze are flowing. That's all that matters, you know?
It's like Christmas, you know, nothing against a religious holiday, but, you know, if you're a sports fan, you like golf, you're not afraid to be around people, you can't have something better than the Waste Management and the Super Bowl all in the same week.
Chiefs Kingdom is clearly a confident and crazed bunch, and despite not all of them able to attend the Super Bowl this Sunday, golf is still here to bring them all together. In Scottsdale, Jonah Krell, Cronkite News.
With spring training coming back to the Valley in a couple of weeks, Tempe Diablo Stadium, the home of the Los Angeles Angels, will be in full use and ready to go. But before that, there is some baseball going on there, but performed in a different type of way. Cronkite sports reporter Austin Scott brings us this unique show.
The end of February is prime time for spring training at Tempe Diablo Stadium, but until then, there's something else going on. A mashup of theater and baseball, with a play called Safe at Home. It's a show set moments before Game 7 of the World Series that touches on the topics of baseball, politics, and the American dream. It's an experience that shows the behind the scenes and the reality of what can transpire in the sport of baseball.
I think also understanding how baseball, the politics of baseball, how it all comes together is the other part of that. This play is invaluable, I think, for all baseball fans. I think everyone can get something from it.
Whether you're watching a show or you're watching a baseball game, most of the time, you get to sit back, relax, and just watch what's in front of you. Now, you still get to watch what's in front of you, but in this show, you're not going to need a seat.
For the show, you travel to 9 different locations within the stadium, so the tour guide's job is to just move each group of spectators from site to site so they don't get lost, and just give them a little introduction to the scene before and what they're going to watch after.
Not only is this a mashup between theater and baseball, but it offers a unique opportunity for fans on either side of the spectrum.
I think you should get yourself out here because you get to go to parts of a stadium that even the most diehard baseball fan will never get to go to. And for a theater goer, you get to see theater in a whole different way than you're used to.
For people on the theater side of things, being at a baseball stadium for the first time is a special moment, to say the least.
It was like a whole stadium. This is my first time in a baseball stadium at all. So it was just kind of like overwhelming, I guess.
After getting a chance to watch the performance myself, it is definitely an out-of-seat experience like no other, and people have a few more chances to check it out. In Tempe, Austin Scott, Cronkite Sports.
After a Pac-12 conference title and an eventful offseason, Arizona State softball is ready to start the 2023 season. The Sun Devils will play 5 games this weekend in San Diego as the program officially transitions into the Megan Bartlett era. Bartlett was named head coach after Trisha Ford's departure for Texas A&M. Many key contributors from last season are no longer with the team, but Bartlett is confident the new-look Sun Devils are ready to go.
We're looking forward to the challenge. I think the identity of this program looks a little bit different moving forward. Changing leadership, philosophy, and honestly just the organic makeup of the kids, but I'm really excited about it.
That's it for your Cronkite Sports Report. We'll send it back to the desk.
After the break, Chiefs or Eagles, which team will win?
We'll get a Super Bowl prediction from an adorable duo. Stay tuned to find out which team these zoo animals would bet their lives on.
We tell ourselves stories as a nation.
These stories need to be highlighted, they need to be explored. We're the dreamers.
How serious is America's commitment to looking at its history? How can we learn from the past?
Douglas said, "You're going to look me in the eye and see my humanity."
It's illuminating. I'm seeing the expansiveness of my history.
It's pretty great.
There's so much richness to Black life and Black culture.
I think the story of Muslims in America is the story of America.
Tonight, they are free.
I
I cannot imagine how excited he must have been.
It's a wonderful feeling. This is why we do this.
It makes me even more committed to struggling for a better world.
Welcome. How utterly charming.
Are you ready to get it going?
How does an English fan come to be Italian Riviera?
A fresh start.
Can I trust you?
Are you ready for the show?
You can't be afraid to show them what you've got, what you want.
Are we having a party?
Of course, the more the merrier.
I love this place. It's my home now. Trouble in paradise. I can't do it on my own.
This is revenge.
There are consequences.
Be careful.
Nothing like this. Nothing like this. Oh.
You look like you need rescuing.
Don't we all?
What is it that you want? I just want to let go. I choose how I live.
There is the passion that I've been looking for.
With the Super Bowl just days away, a very special prediction took place.
A long-necked friend named Bakari made his pick. You've probably heard of the Puppy Bowl predicting the winner of the Super Bowl, but how about a giraffe predicting the outcome this year? Bakari made his choice between the Chiefs and the Eagles and chose the Chiefs. We'll find out if his prediction was correct this Sunday at the Super Bowl.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us.